Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brothers and sisters, welcome to today's episode of Sunday Brunch. Thank you so very much for joining us. Inshallah, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that is so widespread, yet there is such a huge stigma against it, and people are having so much trouble coping with it, addressing it, talking about it. But it's really there, and it's making people isolated and lonely and really miserable, living this one single life that they have. Inshallah ta'ala, we're going to be discussing depression here. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidina.
Alaikum salam.
So, mental health, basically, the whole thing. I don't know why, but even year 2020, there's still a lot of it's still low-key taboo, right? But I think one of the instances of mental health that really needs to be talked about more often, and people aren't talking about it enough, is depression. And especially in Muslim societies, because the moment you talk about depression, they're like, your iman is not strong enough, you should go recite more Quran, supplicate more, get closer to God. I'm not saying that that doesn't help, but it's like breaking a limb or having a toothache and no one ever tells you to go recite Quran. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that depression should be addressed more as it is, an illness. Mm-hmm. Why isn't that happening?
I can tell you that one of the most pressing issues, hands down, one of the most pressing issues, one of the most oftenly asked questions of me, and I'm sure every single religious figure in leadership position, is about depression. I get tons of emails from parents who are
concerned about their children.
I get emails from spouses who are concerned about, her husband or
his wife,
and family members, friends. Depression is something that is very dangerous, very dangerous. I remember I read in a report that it is more dangerous than all the wars combined. It's more lethal than all the wars combined because it takes the lives of people, whether it's by suicide, God forbid, or whether it hastens their death,
exactly.
Basically. And it causes major illnesses. If we call depression a state of mental health, a bad state of mental health, it definitely leads to physical illnesses.
Absolutely, because then you get fatigue, you lose your appetite, you can't sleep, insomnia comes, your joints hurt, you can't focus, your eyesight goes blurry, the headaches, it really has this direct effect on your body. And I don't understand why people insist on it being just in your head. Of course it's in my head. My brain is ill.
Like you said, a lot of times the answer is, well, why don't you read Quran? Why don't you do dua? Why don't you go to ziyarah? I definitely believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends cure from the Quran. And that's the words of the Quran. And there's no doubt in that. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also made all other ways available for us to change our habits, change our lives, and change our state of being, So depression is a very serious issue, and it needs to be addressed, and mental health is an extremely serious issue. And I believe that in the year 2020, let's make it a point in our community centers to create mental health awareness.
Yeah.
To at least have one seminar.
Exactly.
At least have 5 experts come and talk about this. Hear what people have to say. I believe we Muslims living in the West have our own state of depression.
Absolutely.
Now look at the Muslims. He goes into the airport, he's randomly selected. She applies for a job because she wears hijab, she does not get the job that she deserves.
Yep.
If she does, she doesn't get the respects that she deserves. If she does get the job and the respect, maybe not the same salary.
Yeah.
Look at the way sometimes we hear how Islam is being referred to in the media, even by some politicians. You don't think that creates a state of loneliness and sadness? And, you know,
You're so isolated from the rest of the society, and that constant stage of anxiety you have to live in. Are they going to mock me? Are they going to ridicule me? Are they going to pull my... And that totally leads to depression, because you're not confident about who you are and what you're practicing anymore, and you constantly feel like a victim in the society or community you're living in, and it's definitely depressing.
I think another major state of depression and loneliness belongs to the converts. The converts speak to me a lot, and they tell me that, look, Sayyid, we're part of a society. We convert to Islam, we come into your centers, and we're not welcomed. And a lot of them suffer from depression and loneliness. I guarantee you, a lot of them, maybe the majority of them. And they feel that Islam, when they read about Islam and then when they read the Quran, it's this utopia. It's this perfect religion, perfect laws. But we are not perfect, and we are not flawless. And those people end up coming to our centers, and they're discriminated against. Maybe they're not given the respect they deserve. I believe that converts deserve more respect than average people, because they came into Islam, because they read and they investigated and they went through so much trouble. Some of them, the trouble they go through when they convert to Islam.
With their family, with their society, with their work.
Another group of, I believe, lonely Muslims living in the West, and this is also a very important topic that needs to be addressed, and I'm constantly reminded of it, are the sisters that are, they feel neglected. They feel that they're living in the West, and they're not getting married on time, and the brothers, the gentlemen, end up going back home, marrying others, bringing them to the West, whether it's the US or the UK or wherever. And those young girls are left unmarried. And that's also very important. It's very important for centers to find solutions for this. It's very important for centers to address those topics, not shy away from them.
And create a network.
There are many ways. I think we need to resolve those issues in many different ways, whether it's networks, whether it's educating, the young men and young women in the communities, whether it's letting them get to know one another in
a safe, healthy atmosphere.
Exactly. One thing that we always shy away from is letting them get to know one another in a safe Islamic environment, and thinking, oh, this is it, but we don't know the social media and all the other ways of communications and places people meet. I think that also plays a huge role in not letting this marriage take place. When you meet people in the right circumstance, it may lead to marriage. When you don't, then it may not lead to marriage. So this is a complex topic. In the end, I really want to say that for those who are suffering from depression, loneliness, and a mental state that is not comfortable, have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Absolutely.
Allah, your parents may neglect you, your friends may neglect you, they may all shut their doors in your face, but Allah is always there, and He is Sami' and He is Basir. And be strong. Life is full of ups and downs. Be strong, but also to the leadership of our communities to take this issue very seriously.
And for the depressed to get help, and for the leaders to help, basically. And inshallah ta'ala, thank you so very much, Zaynab, for your time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us on another episode of Sunday Brunch. Don't forget to share your comments and suggestions with us, any topics you'd like for us to discuss here on the show. Until the next episode of Sunday Brunch, same time, same place, we leave you in the care and protection of Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.